it has become so plastic, so empty, so almost meaningless, so veneer. No, it's got to penetrate into the depth of my heart and your heart. Not for 10 hours a day, not for 12 hours a day, but for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I am alive in him, and he in me, and so are you. That's the call to be a baptized, confirmed, ordained Christian today. I very seldom hear it preached, and I even less seldom hear it lived. I want to live it, and you are called to live it. And if we live it, we can convert the world to Jesus. The Sacred Heart appeared to Margaret Mary because this fire had gone out. And when he did this, you know, when you see the image of the Sacred Heart, not just the pierced one on the cross, but he came down, he pulled back his robe, he pulled back his skin, and he took out his heart. And he said, look at the heart that has loved so much and received so little love in return. What works in that revealed Sacred Heart for me is the fire. I don't see much fire, either in me or my brothers and sisters. The Sacred Heart of Jesus is wanting to become King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And he burns, I yearn, I want to set the world on fire with this love. This love is stronger than death. This love is stronger than hatred. This love is stronger than lust. This love is stronger than violence. Why are we afraid? It's the love that's going to conquer and has conquered and will conquer the entire world. And this can go forward from here today. A new evangelization in the power and the fire of Jesus Christ. In you. In you. You might be here today. And ask the Father to dig down deep in you, because if you're a baptized Christian, that fire is in you. Our celebration of Eucharist is where we take that blood that came from his side, which you are going to drink today, and fire again. It's like fuel. The blood of Jesus is fuel to keep that fire burning in the whole world. And he wants to light up the whole world. This morning, when we gather here, we are influencing China. 1/5 of the world's population are under communism. When Mother Teresa went to China, I know this from Father Petri, he was at that meeting. She was with the Premier of China, and the Premier of China said to Mother Teresa, no Christian is allowed to evangelize in China. It's an atheistic country. What do you want to come to China for? She told Castro in Cuba to serve your poorest to the poor. She told the leaders in Ethiopia to serve the poorest to the poor. She told the Premier of China, I will come to establish the kingdom of Jesus Christ through the Immaculate Heart of Mary by serving the poorest to the poor. He blew smoke in her face. And he said, Mother, I don't understand a word you just said. Why do you want to come to China? I want to come to China to establish the Sacred Heart's kingdom of love in China through the Immaculate Heart of Mary by caring for the poorest of the poor. Obviously, he didn't let her in. But until the day she died, every time I talked to her, Mother, what should I pray for? Pray I go to China. I saw fire in her eyes. 87 years old, paper-thin heart. She had the fire. I saw it in her. I don't want to be Mother Teresa. I want to be John Esseff. And I want you with you. Because if each one of us will be who we are, the identity, who are you? You are Jesus. That's who you are. Mother Teresa was Mother Teresa. Thank God. She set the world on fire for the poorest of the poor. Stop admiring the saints. Let's imitate them. As we come to this celebration today, to enthrone the Sacred Heart in the entire world, I want to do everything I can as an octogenarian. As an octogenarian priest, I can do that. Not because of me, but because of him who lives in me. And I need you to be you in the world today, to set the world on fire. Why do I need you? Because God needs you. He chose you. We didn't choose him. He chose us. I'm going to conclude with this story, this homily. When I was in Lebanon, I was there in an Islamic world. The fastest growing religion in the world is Islam. And I saw fire. They are doing this through jihad, they are doing this through multiplication, and they have a plan to overtake the world. They meet every year in Karachi. They have a plan to Islamize the world. I met a group of them that came from Iran. They were Islamullah, the party of God. A group of young men, 15 to about 20, 25. They had little keys on their neck, given to them by Ayatollah Khomeini. They were going to die for Allah. And they all had machine guns, and they got on a bus. I was going from East Beirut to West Beirut, to the airport. I was going to fly to Cairo. And I had to go to the airport, and I was going down Airport Road, and they jumped on the Middle East Airlines bus. And they held the guns on us, and we were there on the bus, and they said to us, "Which of you are Christians?" And a group of us stood up. And as they beat up the bus driver, they took, you wear a nice collar, isn't this a nice cross? They pulled the cross off, threw it on the floor, spit on it. They hate the cross. And they hate the Trinity. They say, we teach three gods. And there is only one God. Allah, Allah. There is no God but God. And as they were there, cursing our Trinity, spitting on the cross, beating up the bus driver. Finally they got off in about, half hour. I thought it was an eternity. And some little old lady got up and they had smashed the bus driver's face in, blood all over the place. I always thought of her as Veronica. She was wiping his face, and he fainted, and we went to the airport. But I look back on that today, being with you. You know what I saw there? I saw fire. I saw the fire in those men's eyes. And there are thousands of them, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands like them. And I come back to this country and to the world that's Catholic, and I don't see the fire. It was in their eyes. I learned this in the Islamic world. Muslims have a small God, but they're a great people. Christians are a small people with a great God. We can be set on fire only by the heart of Jesus. And it needs to be rekindled, and each one of us is called to spread that fire in the world today. The source of that fire is our baptism. The fuel of that fire is the Eucharist. And it's into the pierced heart of Christ. That's what Pope Benedict said. You cannot even get into the Mass without the love of Jesus. And his love is poured forth from his heart. Enter into your heart now. Let me enter into my heart. And when you go down deep into your heart, there you will find him and that fire. It's there, waiting for you. And as that is kindled within you, even as we enter into the Eucharist, you see, I met yesterday a man whose children are suffering. And he loves them so much. Jesus, is suffering because his children have an incurable disease. His love is being crucified by caring for his son and his child. I met here many of you who are being crucified. I met a woman in the hall who said, I am so ready and willing to suffer. And here in her heart I looked, Jesus in you. He is in you. He is suffering in you right now. He's dying in you, and he's rising in you. That suffering, death, and resurrection is in each one of us. And it is fueled, sustained, set more on fire by the Eucharist. This is what the Eucharist is. It doesn't end here. As soon as we go out of here, we are living flames to set the whole world on fire with Jesus. Not because I'm me or you're you, but because he is Jesus. And I'm with you all days, even to the end of the world.